Hey everybody, I'm wearing clothes. It's just I know that it looks like I'm not. It doesn't actually. That doesn't look very nice because I'm not trying to look naked, but I'm also not trying to. Anyway, it's just gonna have to be fine. So, hi, how are you all out there? I hope this message finds you at least willing to face this time that we're in together. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm just like everybody. I get insecure in front of the camera. I'm looking forward to the future when there won't be a need to push record, so everything will always be raw, and everyone will just be in the business of being used to the unpolished product. Because this isn't about putting it together a product. I'm not the one making money off of this, but plenty of people are. Plenty of people are making what? Money off of me? Yeah. Oh yeah, didn't you hear? Didn't you hear about data being all the rage? It's the beast system. Yeah, it's a hungry beast. It wants all the data. But it doesn't just want all the data, like it doesn't just garble it up. No, the beast actually is that vampire, they say like energy vampire. The beast is the energy vampire. So the beast isn't just looking for energy to plug into and get some gas. The energy vampire is the deceptive serpent energy, that the biblical dragon beast, that depiction has been used to describe the bad guy. But the biblical version is trying to make the woman is the bad guy. It's actually man who is trying to eliminate women. Why? Because we make the babies. So they've been working on fake wombs to make babies, so they can get rid. Matter of fact, I saw a headline on a website that was an institution in Israel, and it said, "No womb, no problem." So back to all of us are worth money. The data. But it's not just the data, it's our behavior. Because this vampire, this energy vampire, manipulates the system at large to coax and coerce our behavior in its will's way. And what way does it will? Well, the way that it wills is for all of us to be products that provide a profit to the system. So you need to, if you're not somebody important, you need to be an employee. You need to be a W. You need to have a job. And you need to work there. You need to be consistent with it. You need to be on time. Make that money. Pay your taxes. That's what they want. It's not a person. It's a beast. It's a beast that's calculating all this organization. That's what it means. The first beast, the beast system. Who's in charge of it? The beast is now. The beast has been in charge of it. But think about it. It's the system at large. It's all dialed in. It has to be the beast. By design, the computer is what's in charge. All along. They rely on it to give them information about everything. Records. It's not just showing them records. It's also the system that people input the false information into, but actually affects a person downstream. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a system that doesn't work like this. We're going to make a system that is actually verifying. It's self-encrypted. Everybody owns their own data. We don't have applications that everybody wants to make out there and penny pinch us and have to have a polygamist relationship with an AI, Grok or an AI, because those guys are in competition with each other. And that table of billionaires is about to be exposed as the table, the board of the devil. The devil's board of, what do they call them? The board of trustees. Those billionaires are going to be exposed as the board of trustees for the devil. And in reality, they're simply competing with one another to see who can be the winner of the game of world's greatest billionaire. Which in truth is going to be world's man holding the most counterfeit money to waste in pursuit of endeavors that don't benefit us or the planet or reality, because they're not going to get there. But they get to hold those charges and stand as accused for the endeavors that they are pursuing as we speak. I've been given the information that what is going on right here, right now, is diverting the future that Elon has, for example, trying to go to Mars. He's planning on practicing his launches, launching rockets to Mars, launching volunteers to Mars, launching nuclear weapons to get its atmosphere started again. Well, that trying to launch nuclear weapons is what destroys Earth. What a dumbass. Well, who would do that such thing? Well, who would do such a thing to their home planet? Somebody that's not on their home planet. Or someone who knows that they need this planet for the rest of their home team to come and dwell in. An Earthling wouldn't act like this. An Earthling wouldn't act like them. It doesn't sit right in our hearts. We know that. Well, that tells you that you don't need to go get any more proof of it or wait till the news says this. I mean, why would you trust the news? If they made a headline that said, the world's billionaires are working for the devil. They don't have Earth's interest in its... They don't have Earth's best interest in mind. Would you believe it? You'd probably believe it then if the news channels told you. Well, take control back. You have a brain, you can use it. You don't need to wait for the news to say anything. You shouldn't expect the government to be the one making that announcement either. Don't expect your church to tell you the truth either. They want you an obedient, church-going, silent person. So go ahead, work for the system, work for the machine, work for the false religion, work for the devil. Be the one who's sitting there attacking women and mothers. Be the one who wants a colonial world where husbands and wife teams are trafficking everybody and everybody's been turned into an asset and a money market. And those pieces of shit at the top are what? Doing nothing to help anybody, and they themselves aren't even satisfied. Feeding the devil is harming the devil. That's right. This harms God, and this harms the devil, and this harms you, and it harms everyone. So why would anybody be on board with this nonsense? They wouldn't, is the answer. The only ones that would be on board with this, with the cognizance, are foreign alien parasites from somewhere else that are not Earthlings. Because an Earthling knows this is our only planet, and we love our planet. Someone from another planet would have other actions and other intent. And that's what is clear. That's what is in scope, looking at these billionaires. Okay? That's not even human. And I suggest that that's the direction that we go in. I suggest that we put the whole situation on freeze. Freeze. That whole money system is fraud. Stop. All of you at the top. All of you at the top. That's why God has sent me here, to take authority, because God has not abandoned us. God has come to our aid. God, please, I'm right here. Mankind has me silenced because mankind hates woman, and he trained everybody to be expecting some guy to come out of the clouds. That's insanity, guys. I'm right here. We just need to work together as a people because they've got their grips on the system at large. Who's they? The beast mind behind their computer system that's dialed in. That is dialed in with algorithms that are already harming everybody, that are already conducting fraud. The beast, the calculator is not calculating accurately, but we rely on those calculations. Yep. So if you knew that your accountant didn't do very good math and they have a tendency to charge you more than you should be charged instead of a tendency to pay you more than you deserve, well, I don't think you'd hire that accountant again, would you? I think that the natural human thing to do would not only be to fire that guy, but it would be also to file a report against his accounting license. And it would be to post something on social media so everybody knew about it. And so that way, every time you ran into anybody in the financial industry, you'd mention that guy, John Doe, that piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. Don't work with him. That's what a human would do when they've been done wrong by someone whose business practices are foul. Well, newsflash. The world's money markets, that's crypto, that's banking, that's financial institutions, that's trust agreements, that's notes, that's all of the money markets, derivatives, swaps, futures. That's even what we think is like, natural resources. Like, you can invest in energy and gold and gas and renewable this. Honey, guys, listen, that money market world just is detestable to me. So I don't even put my brain into the game. I got bigger things to worry about. But every time I do, I find out what how important it is that I put my head in the game, because I've got the eyes to see through the fuckery. So putting my head in the game just for a little bit. Okay, what you find out is that we've all been monetized. We are all human capital products. It's already in the books. They're making money on us. Our computers, I guarantee it, are already gathered into a hub, and they're making money somewhere. The system requires it. It's protocols of doing things, and it does things and it pays things out. But they don't want us to get that money, right? So they put that money in these other accounts that they have access to, that we have no knowledge of, and that they just deny. And they deny it because we're never asking it the question with the right words. We don't know the right terms to use. We don't know what to call it. And as long as you don't know anything, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's that. But even the system at large has been used to prevent me from rescuing my daughter from she was kidnapped over 8 years ago. I was sent to go die in the wilderness because I was born with genes, the very third strand that Jesus and Mary had. It's the divine strand that I was born with, that mankind didn't see me and my strand at my birth and give me a sash and say, "Ooh, you're Christ." No, they kept it secret. They stole it. They lied to my family, told me I was a serpent, and then they have been monitoring me, surveilling me, and experimenting on me all my life. They expected to be able to kill me as soon as they got my child and another fetus for me, which they did through sexual battery, and a felon, 9 times plus felon, that they used to send in to infiltrate me, to impregnate me, then to steal my kid through their fuckery. This is the cartels. Those are gang stalkers that work for them. The pedophiles are let out of jail. They jail the innocent. The system is the beast system. That's what it's in the Bible for. Listen, people. Listen. I'm shadow banned because the system at large is dialed in. So anybody that makes it to my page is someone intentionally here. But I put it out into the ether every single time. You want to know why? Because that beast system is not the beast system. Excuse me, that beast system is not the system. Intelligence exists in the cosmos on the God level. And mankind's little cute computer and its little pretend that it accesses a network is small time in comparison to God and the real intelligence. So I'm telling the beast system that I'm on your airwaves, and the intelligence is going to make sure that it comes into everybody's hearts and souls like an intercom. That's right. That's right. Like I said in the first place, I'm going to meet you on your field and kick your ass with your weapons. Because I'm awake now. I'm getting more awake every single day. They've silenced me into death. Taken everybody out of my life, my family, my friends, everything. They've thrown me out of life. Taken my kid from me, silenced. I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive or not, but they did a massacre. They did a massacre and they tied it to me. They harassed me. I started researching a case in Visalia with the same name, Jorge Vasquez, sexual charges, and like 10 new ones. I had known that they monitored me. Hi there. They monitored me all day long. I know that they did that, but I decided to investigate this because I needed to. My daughter, have had it. No, I sent him an email, January 15th. Do the right thing. Give me my daughter back already, or else when I get to justice, you're going to go down for this. Do you the right thing. What happens? I start doing the investigation. I go to log into my court case finder, and it says, this email is associated to your account, and it was chase.killough, like kill you, .ck at Gmail. What the fuck is that? Great, they're going to hunt me down. They're going to come and chase me down. Great. Because my roommate had just left that afternoon. Later on that next night, I see a headline, 6 killed in a massacre, including a teenager and her son, in Visalia, which is also known as Goshen. That's the biblical. I got an email that's mind you, when I saw that, I called them. What's this email address? They couldn't find it. Of course they couldn't, because this is Telecom that Jorge Vasquez is connected to. Telecom, the whole human trafficking worldwide network is connected through. The reason why our computers are vulnerable to hackers is because they built it that way, not because it has to be that way. The reason why all of the applications and browsers, this is because they want to make money on us, not because it has to be that way. This tax system and this poverty system and borders, they did that so that they can have control over us, not because it has to be that way. They've got us all scheduled from the moment we wake up to the moment we can hopefully go to sleep. But they don't want to let us even have our sleep. They want to control our brains. This is a parasite that is feeding off of our living energy. It has already got control over the system, that already has the mechanisms in place, that already dial in to our living experiences, being death profiled to death, dialed in already. And the people at the top and those who know. It's just as simple as a kill code. We're talking about money markets, Palantir, Elon Musk. We're talking about the genetic science industry. We are talking about the military complex. We are talking about the devil's board members. God has sent me here because I have done this before. And I'm here to drive us as a planet because we are entering a cosmic thing. It's called the living waters of the central sphere. It's also referred to as this aligning with the dark rift, 3 days of darkness. What do you think 3 days of darkness represents? 3 days after you die and then the body will rise? After a person dies, the scientists have already found out that our cells, there's certain cells that haven't been active since we were an infant that come alive again after we die. Well, what's that all about? Yeah, they stay alive for about 3 days until they go away, till they turn off. Well, I think that is our information being gathered up to forward on to the generations that come after us. So when I die, anything that my information goes into my descendants. So my child and her children and however that works. We're all connected through branches of a tree. That's those 3 days. So those 3 days indicate those darkness days. Now, mind you, Easter of 2026 is going to, on Easter Sunday, April 5th, it will be a total eclipse of the sun. So it's going to go dark on over Egypt on Easter Sunday. And that hasn't happened since Jesus' crucifixion. The calculation I've been shown by God, the days of Daniel, specifically so that I would know that I'm being persecuted and I would be able to watch the timeline once I finally figured it out so that I would know I'm right on schedule. Otherwise, a person would naturally, if they had no inclination from God, that they were chosen, that they were fine in God's eyes. In other words, the world used tactics to try to frame me, to character assassinate me. And they used everyone and everything in my vicinity to do it. They are conducting psychological warfare because they figure after enough time, you'll just accept the fact that you're the piece of shit they said that you were, that you did whatever they said that you did, that it is what it is, and that you'll just die already. That's the slime bags that are running the show that you are working for. That's what you guys are working for. Just so you know, you gang stalkers, you don't get to just get out of this because you're a small person. You're just getting a paycheck. Oh, no. When this prosecution comes down, you'll be on the stand. Yeah, that's right. And you'll be condemned. You'll be condemned outside of the paradise as well for your small little thing. So just so you know, you just sold your soul for whatever your paycheck is. Congratulations. You're a fool. Because they got control over everybody. Is it fair? Hell no. But I'm willing to push through. I'm willing to push through my own trauma, which are automatic responses. You know that fight or flight? It's just not. You can't tell somebody stop reacting with like the fight or flight. Look, if a bear comes after you, just stop reacting. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to have a fight or flight mechanism to actually react to like heat, like touch something hot and you take your hand away. They want to train you to not take your hand away, to just blindly be like letting your hand burn. That's what they want you to do. The fight or flight mechanism is trauma. So they traumatize you so that you can't react differently. Your brain says other things. But like, for example, I'm not scared of these pieces of shit. I'm not scared of any of them. But my body, my trauma mechanism, because of the way that they have handled things and conditioned the situation, has this trepidation about calling them again because of what I know about the jurisdiction and everything. Well, that's what God has given me the days of Daniel, so that I would know the persecution ended August 15th, so that I would know God has made the path straight, so that I would know that the coast is clear now, that God has my name out of the way. And I haven't, it's been only since August, only almost a month since this, and I've been still trying to put these pieces together. This is a very interesting situation, very intricate situation. And all I'm expecting from the listeners out there is to not jump to conclusions, to not make assumptions or presumptions, and to stop violating my privacy. If you are those citizen scientists looking for observations, you people are going to be held accountable for your little itsy bitsy parts. Make no mistake of it. God is setting an example with my circumstance, and that's why exactly those of you who are participating in it, and it's a big, huge pile of you, but in comparison to 8 billion people is nothing at all. The big, huge pile of you are going down. That's what it is. It is the example that is being set with this. I am going to be at the helm of the paradise, and everyone else is going to make it except for you guys. So pat yourself on the back. You sold your soul. You've been made it. Whether you knew it or not, you get to be part of what you got yourself to be part of. And in your ignorance, you're going to learn your lesson because God sets an example for everyone else to learn, not to fuck around. Pat yourself on the back. Okay? And when we go to paradise and you guys get set aside to go in a timeout to observe and not be able to communicate with anybody, that'll be your turn. But you won't get to hang out with each other and high five and like you imagine hell to be. No, you'll be in silence, purgatory, silence. Now it's going to be your guys' turn to be silenced. God's going to do it. So what's in scope here, guys, is the financial institutions that have this trusteeship, these board members. They've got money markets. They've made derivatives out of our energy. So if you're just a poor person that they want to die, a homeless person they want to die already, they're still going to make money on your death, which is why they're going to nudge you this way and nudge you that way and put you in drug programs and send you through the court system. They need to make money off of you. It's the beast. They need your credit to go upside down so they can tack on interest and have you in that category column where even though it's not actually paid, nobody pays any money. It's just an outstanding amount due, and they look at that as positive assets on their taxes. They use taxes to fuck everybody up. Think about celebrities and actors. Think about them. What they're willing to do, right? That casting couch. Think about that. The casting couch that is joked around about, like everybody knows that in order to make it in the system, you got to like fuck somebody. Okay, fine. Let's take that another step because these devils in Hollywood they're not just straight. They like to fuck whatever they have to fuck, and they want to fuck it all, and that's the truth. So men and women it's not just a casting couch for women. It's men too. Realize that. And these are the beautiful people. So that means they're extra vulnerable and they're willing to sign a contract and they're willing to sign a contract. The people that want to get a music deal, the people that want to get in the movies, they already know they've got to put in the hard work. They already know that. They already know that if they start making headway in the industry, that once you get a little bit of headway, that you can't lose that. Once you get some visibility in the public square, that your reputation and your popularity is what it's all about. It's all about your popularity. It's not even about how good of an actor you are, or how great of a band you are, or how great of a screenplay you could write. It's got nothing to do with your talent. It's got everything to do with now your willingness to sign that contract, to sign over that contract, and to be willing to be the puppet. Because of course that contract's going to have things in there like you need to look good, you need to sound good, you need to not you need to not break. You need to keep your public image. And of course you know that. That goes without saying, of course. No problem. Well, they just did it. They just bought you on paper. And they've got it hidden under the disguises. What you want to do for a living. We're just making your dreams come true. We're just helping you achieve your goals. We're helping you. We're here for you. No, you're not. That's the same thing like a trustee does. We need to manage your money because we want to make sure that you make responsible decisions. No, you're a control fucking vampire, energy vampire. And they all are. And those little secret society meetings that those Masons go and do creepy shit, like wear weird outfits and dumb hats, and they're weirdos. That's not because there's actually a devil that they're worshiping. They're going there like puppet pawns, like gimps. Dear Satan, please show up. We need your evilness. It doesn't exist, and it never did. They keep hoping that if they sacrifice more living beings in front of their altar, that it's going to show up, but it won't. It doesn't exist. They are the devil that they are hoping will show up in the form of a big, bad, scary guy. But that big, bad, scary guy doesn't exist. And that's what they're still doing. They're still waiting for him to show up. They're still trying to do the biggest sacrifice. Maybe then he'll show up. No, they're convoluted, delusional, mentally ill people who are possessed by demons that are running the show that we need to say no to. We need to see this. The actors, the bands, the popular people, the celebrities are hostages of theirs. You Regular people, you're also a hostage of theirs because they've got contracts and markets and derivatives and all this whatnot on all of our heads, except theirs, obviously, because if they tallied up the charges that they would owe for this violence, well, geez, if the system that they have in place handled them the way that they handle people, they'd get the death penalty. We need to see that this is violence and it's all about money, and money is fake. Money isn't even real. What we need to see is that what they've stolen in order to get this power. How do they get this power? With money. How'd they get that money? They made it up. They fabricated it. Well, what'd they fabricate it on? They fabricated it on collateral. Oh, something that's worth a whole lot of money. So it makes money out of thin air, right? Like, look, I found something and it's worth a lot of money. So it was an asset that came from nowhere and now it gets added to the system. So now they get to add money to the system. So now they just come up with a real expensive relic, a real valuable asset that they just found, like human beings. Only women can make those. Yeah, that's right. But they've got it worked out so that you can go get married, hand yourself over through a bond, give yourself to your husband, and now he owns the women and the children. So what do the men do? They have to keep this brotherhood alive so that way they know they got to control their wives and their children because those are the ones that make money for their system. They got to keep the armies and their military, scary stuff, so those women just stay silent and they stay obedient. This is the game at hand here. So the brotherhood is also false. That's the false fuckery of the brotherhood because they're competing with each other. That's the truth. They're competing with each other. So that's what the witches do. They infiltrate the women up against each other to be jealous of each other, to play men against each other. That's a fuckery. So it's the witches, the Satan worshipers, the ones that do rituals. Any kind of ritual is Satan worship. God doesn't expect you to play with fake idols, false idols. You don't need to do anything hocus pocusy to connect to God. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how you don't connect to God. You're trying to connect to the material world through hair, through spit, through voodoo, through altars, through sacrifice. You animal. God is in the divine realm. Step up above your animal self if you want to talk to God. Well, they don't want you to talk to God. They want you to talk to their dark lord that doesn't exist so that you can be a pawn puppet for their fuckery. Well, why are they doing that? What's so good about the world they want? There isn't anything good about the world they want. They don't even realize that they're low ballers. They don't shoot for the stars. They're absolutely in the gray. They're the gray. They're in the gray. So they're not even helping themselves because the world they're forging isn't even great or spectacular. So we need to see them as a hindrance. And they're going to come up and put in front mathematics, science jargon, too much for you to handle, huh? Yeah, we'll just tell you what we're talking about. Wrong. Blah, 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 blah. Computer says, and this is just fact. Wrong. They're going to tell you God made us the chosen people and we get to wrong. Your system is fired. 100% fired. Pack up your desk and go home. We'll send you your check in the mail. It's done. I see it all on scope. God has given me this authority over the world operations because I'm the one who has the brain that can see through the demon possession. It doesn't fuck with me. But I'm a human being. So if their fuckery fucks with me and has me juxtaposed, God protects me from being murdered. But I'm here to be the legs to do the walking and talking that God is having me do. So I'm guided by God in the human form. Does that make sense? I'm not a witch. I'm not strategizing. I'm straight trying to survive. God's helping me survive and God's guiding me in my actions, in my speaking. As I speak, this is God's guidance through Allison the vessel. But God has shown me to know that the victory comes through God's guidance and that I am going to find the way. The word's going to get out. It's going to go viral. It will. God has already shown me that it will. And I'm just being faithful and being true to the mission, which is to help us all. There are shifts in the cosmological seasons, right? Winter is a different temperature. You experience snowfall instead of sunshine. The leaves fall off the trees. Fruit's not growing on the trees, right? Versus springtime or whatever, when the fruit's full and right. So you see the difference in seasons. It's a whole weather. So there are seasons of consciousness. And if you do your homework, what the whole Mayan calendar discussion was in 2012, right? They tried to say that the Mayan calendar ended, and we were like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Same thing with 1999 to 2000, same thing. What they're talking about is the cycle of evolution, that according to ancient cultures, and I guess that would even be the archaeologists, maybe the astronomers, those people have talked about this 17 billion year cycle of evolution from the Big Bang, right? Life started 16.4 billion years later, then like life started, and there's 9 degrees of this evolutionary cycle. First one is 16.4, then millions and millions, and so on and so forth, down to what we've been dealing with since 1756. 1756 was when the 7th degree began, 256-year period. That 256-year period was the beginning of industry, and that's what we experienced, right? So then that's the 7th degree. Then there's 8th and then 9th. 8th degree was 12.8 years. That began October 31st, 2012. We were sold in 2012 to believe that it was ending. We didn't know, right? But nothing happened. That's because they didn't tell us the whole story. The whole story is that in 2012 was the end of the 256-year 7th degree, beginning the 8th degree, 12.8-year period, which ended August 18th, 2025. So August 18th, 2025 began the final degree, the 9th degree, the 234 days, that ends on April 9th, 2026. Well, what happens when it ends? Well, it leads us to the 10th degree. April 10th is the day of the 10th degree, and the day God dials the sun back 10 degrees and returns those 15 years to Hezekiah, which is represented in Isaiah. And that's talking about the story of my mother. And my mother died November 30th, 2023. Well, in the days of Daniel, her calculation is there. And the calculation takes us to 12/3. So those 3 extra days are in there to serve as the purpose of these 3-day thing, the flag. The 15 years are going to be returned to my mother. So from 12/3/2023 back 15 years to 12/3/2008. That's right before I give birth to my daughter. That sounds a lot like the woman of Revelation, about to give birth, wearing a crown of 12, standing on the serpent. April 10th is the day of the 10th degree. That's called the day of judgment, the day of our Lord, the day that my daughter's returned to me. And whether that's because it's in the physical form, because she's still alive, or it's because I give birth to her again, according to the story. The story says I give birth to her again. The story says she is resurrected because she is because time is renewed, and I'm able to actually give birth to her from the beginning of that in the next phase. It's going to begin that paradise era. Well, what happens after the 9th degree? I mean, it's 17 billion years, right? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about humanity in its physical material form, according to the set of time. Started 17 billion years ago. It went, and then like galaxies and planets and things and life formed and volcanoes, and millions of years later, then this evolved, and then millions of years. The evolutionary cycle is a long cycle, but it ends with a 234-day universal consciousness achievement. Michael arrived on August 18th, according to the days of Daniel, and it coincides with the 234-day calculation. And August 15th, so there's a 3-day period. August 15th was my 49th conception of the wow signal. And April 9th is the day my daughter was conceived. No joke. It goes from conception to conception, 49 on 49. These are the kinds of things that God does to self-verify information in the Bible so that you know what's the truth. God doesn't ask us to have blind faith. So what I'm talking about is this evolutionary cycle that is long periods of time, but it's broken down into only 9 degrees. So 16.4 billion years, it's like 20 times smaller. Then it's like 802 million years, 20 times smaller. It's actually like 5% of it is also the calculation. So 5% of it becomes the next number, and then 5% of it becomes the next number. So it reduces in its length very easily, but it's a certain specific pattern. And it ends with a 234-day 9th degree universal consciousness. So that means as of August 18th, Archangel Michael arrived, which is why I am Archangel Michael. I am my spirit prince that is coming to my aid, the woman in Revelation. And I'm here to show us all that Michael arrived for all of us. All of our higher selves are connected to source. We all have it. We already are complete. Masculine, feminine, human, that's earth, that's heaven and earth. Your body is your earth. Your heaven is your spirit. Your higher self is connected to the spiritual realm. That's heaven and earth. Why does God say there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth and there won't be a sea? Because it's talking about jurisdiction. You as a public person, that's the land. Land, property ownership. The sea represents the unknown, chaos, the private. That's what it's talking about. It's talking specifically about jurisdiction and sovereignty, which is where that whole sovereign movement started. They got everyone to say sovereign citizen, which is just a misnomer. It's because the clues have been out there. That's what the Bible's talking about. It's jurisdiction. The new heaven and new earth will be our new renewed body. Those 15 years come back. And our new heaven, our soul will be revived with this new understanding of truth. And that's happening Easter of 2026. It's no joke. This is the evolutionary cycle, the last 234 days. So the world needs to know this. They don't want to let you know that. They don't want to let this word get out. Why? Because they've got the digital twin earth mechanism of Meta already ready to go. They're just waiting for the flash or whatever so that it can insert us into their digital world. As long as we're holding our phone or in its vicinity or something, I guarantee it. They got all their digital devices just waiting for this thing to happen so that it'll cause us to get our souls enslaved in their digital realm. And then we won't be able to get out. We'll be like avatars in there. That's what they want. That's the beast of the beast system. The markers of the beast are observations of your behaviors. They've been dialing in your frequency behind the scenes, whether you knew it or not. Many of you have been participating in doing it to others. Well, they do it to you too. It's a digital twin. My family is behind. Digital is only a mimicry of the analog world because there isn't two sides to the coin. It's one coin. It's one coin with a shadow on it, with one of its sides only a potential. You're Christ and you're Satan. Well, the reason why at the end times it's talking about Satan being put away for good, it's talking about your Satan being put away for good and your Christ reigning you. These are all individual decisions. That's what Revelation's talking about. The self-governance that is the foundation for self-governance that will allow you to walk in the front door of the gates of God's kingdom. This is self-governance that we have to establish. That's why they don't want us to have our own autonomy, because they are the ones that run the world, that are the energy vampires that are possessed by demons doing the leg work. That's what God let me know. I can't move your legs for you. When I said, God help, I can't move your legs for you, but if you can move your legs, I can get you where you need to go. And that's what's going on. God is with us. We just need to accept its presence and listen to its influence, because when your heart hears, two things, you could do this or you could do this. The human tendency is to take the easy route, to take the convenience, to take the luxury, not the difficult road. Well, I don't mind taking the difficult road, but I'm juxtaposed, and that's just true. So that's why when I put this out there on the recording, it's so that way God can take my message and make it get wherever it needs to go, despite what their algorithm says. And I know God is doing it because I can see things changing, and I'm not able to do anything but do what I'm doing. Speak from my desktop and see 2 people watching it. I know that's not true. I'm being shown a shadow banned front, but that's not the truth whatsoever. The internet, the world that I'm seeing is a front operation. They want me to think this and that is going on. Well, how am I supposed to know the difference? I don't. And I'm not able to. So I'm going to respond to the situation at hand, knowing God is in control of this whole thing. God is in control, meaning God works around their fuckery. So mankind thinks that they have the ability to think and choose and do what they will. That's what mankind thinks. In reality, God's in charge of all of this. But God has given them the ability to do things their way, because this is all coming down to one opportunity of free will. This whole thing has been planned out up until now. All of this was destined because God told us about it in the beginning. God saw things from beginning to end, and that's why and I'm here to testify to it, to a precision. God's got my story in there to a precision. People's actions, people's testimony in there, and that's why it's in there. So my story is covered from top to bottom. I'm all these characters in there. And why would God make you all the people? Because it's not about me being greedy. It's about God teaching us. It's about God teaching us, and that's why God's showing me to find my story in all these different ways and angles from different perspectives, different lords like my father or my brother. These are different lords or gods being talked about in the Bible. And so that way I can attest to all of it. That's why. That's what the purpose of it is. That's why I'm the servant that God sent in. I'm the one who God has sealed. I'm the one who's talking about. They even try to make it out. I'm in there. That's what it's my story. So that I can teach you guys about what the truth is. So, right now, what we need to understand, people, even you there that are gang stalkers working for the machine, you're possessed by a demon. And you're going to end up, your receipt of my message, which goes, whether it goes in one ear and out another, is being received in your brain. And you are being commanded right now, when you receive my message, that you must stop your fuckery. You must pass this word on to others, at least one individual. You must pass this word on in truth so that you can release yourself from the liability, or you will be held accountable. You must pass this forward. You are not authorized to keep this information to yourself, to hold it secret, or to do anything further against me or the mission, or you will be held accountable. And trust me, you do not want to be put in a timeout, because what's going to happen is while we're going into paradise, between the first toll gate and the second toll gate, you get to be set aside and watch us all have a grand old time. Then at the second toll gate, when we get graduated to being a light being that can interstellar travel and all this stuff, you get to start as Cro-Magnon man and start as a caveman for another 230 million year orbit. We'll never see you again. You'll be left in the dust, and that's what it says. And I'm telling you this as aggressively as I am, because I want you to want better for yourself. I want you not to want that to happen. All I'm doing is trying to help us all. And all I'm trying to do is to remind us that we have to fight for this, but not with our fists, not with guns, not with revolution, but with the message. It's all it takes. The only thing that we need to gain paradise and to put Satan away is to spread the word of truth. The message is what will do it all by itself. That's why the convolution of the devil was to defile religion. All the world religions are fraud. They defiled the holy word. They took woman out and put man in. They raped the daughters. They killed the mothers. They lie through their teeth and they scapegoat. They blame everyone else for their guilty sins. They are the war fighters. They are the money men. They are Hollywood's evil devil. They are. They are a parasite from somewhere else that doesn't belong to Earth. They're trying to take over Earth. They are already here. They are the ones that infiltrated us a long time ago. Those Anunnakis, those fallen angels. They're the Antichrist. They've been here the whole time. Antichrist, because Christ is a daughter. Because it's God's bloodline, ding dong. You don't get your bloodline from anyone but your mother. No, it's not 50-50. No, it isn't. It's a lie. The mother imprints the father onto the child. It's what it is. So when a man impregnates a woman, her P57 expresses, which silences his gene, that foreign blood, and she imprints onto it. The two strands is hers and what she imprints onto the other strand. I was born with a third strand, the most stable strand, the strand of the divine. We're talking the frequency and sequence to the divine. They stole it because they want it. That's their biotech industries, right? And those trillions of dollars belong to me. And God, you don't get to steal from God. This planet, God is God's. All the people, the woman gave birth to. Man is nothing. And it's no wonder. He's the fallen angels. All men, Allison? No. Are you out of your mind? I'm talking about mankind, the ones that rule the world, who are possessed by the demons the most. They're convoluted. They're not going to snap out of it. Don't expect them to change their mind and do the right thing. They're possessed by demons. We have to see this as a situation that simply will not be fixed unless we do something, like unplug the rogue Ferris wheel that's going out of control. That's the only way to get it to stop. You don't put your hand up, that won't work. You have to unplug it. This sort of thing. So you who are here, who are listening, we have an obligation to get this word out. That's it. I don't need you to battle on the field. I need you to get the word out. Spread the word, the message. See, they run. Scaredy cats. They're scaredy cats. So maybe if I started like showing off my boobs, more people would see it and they'd be like, oh, what's she doing in there? I'm not going to sell that. I'm not going to defile myself to sell this message. But I am going to say that when it does post things up, like you can see, I guess, like an image of what's going on in the video. So what I do, okay, so that's interesting. I could probably try to come up with some more bells and whistles to make it look interesting. If I'm trying to get the message out, I will work whatever I can to try to bring people in. Okay, well, that's a good note. I can get creative like that. Yeah, I'm gonna get creative like that, and I'm going to find ways to get people's attention. Okay, well, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna close this message up because today is all about me meditating on receiving the insights of things that I can do to help. I'm here to use my sense of humor to get this done. I'm here to use my creativity to get this done. I'm here to use my humility to get this done. Hi there. Thanks for stopping by. I'm trying to get a message out, and I appreciate you taking the time to say hello. So, but I'm not doing anything extra special cool right now, so you can go. You're free to go. So I'm going to wrap this up. Today's message is all about understanding the truth of the paradise, and the paradise that all of us want in our hearts and souls. We do. We want paradise. We've all been begging for it, and it's not too good to be true. And we're going to get it. We're going to earn it ourselves. So if you don't know, I'm Allison Hemme. I'm Michael the Archangel. I'm the wife of God, the bride of the Spirit, and the mother of Christ. This is fact. I've got the evidence to prove it all day long. God didn't send me in empty-handed. God doesn't send in anybody expecting blind faith. God is back with us. And the reason why God hasn't been here is because it's been Satan that's been in charge of this world. We've been going through the past of the darkness, but not anymore. We're entering into the living light, the living waters. And this is God that is returning. So that's why it's new. God is actually here now. It hasn't been. And we need to know that. So we can start listening to that influence, that Michael, that spirit prince, that is our higher self connection, that higher self, that guardian angel, that one that's connected to spirit. It's with us. And it's here to influence us all. We're in the universal consciousness. These 234 days that started August 18th and end April 9th, 2026, where the frequency will shift. And your frequency needs to qualify, or you're not going to qualify. There's a way to qualify all of us if we unite. But if we don't, it's individually. And that's fine with me nonetheless. So that means your frequency needs to be free of its burdens. Whatever it is that weighs your heart and soul down, you need to be willing to get rid of it and willing to make forgiveness for it, a penance for it. We need to be willing to let the Satan go and take Christ. We need to be we need to be the Archangel Michael for ourselves. And I'm our Asaph. I'm our chaperone. I'm even Apollyon, Gadon, the leader of the locusts. God's given me the authority. We're getting God's paradise because this is God's cosmos and creation. And God is awesome. And I appreciate God all day long for all the beautiful things God is doing, because it isn't God that has been running the show. It's been the absence of God. We need to know that. Michael didn't arrive until August 18th, just less than a month ago. But if you can think about it, there has been a shift in the energy. So tap into it. Listen to it. Call on it. Ask for the angels' protection. Ask for the angels' guidance. And know that it's your prayers are being answered. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day trying to listen to more guidance and think of creative ways that I can try to get the attention of people out there, because I'm shadow banned and silenced. But I'm not going to let that be a hindrance. I'm going to let that be the motivator. We got to get there together, guys. No man left behind. No one ever deserved to be possessed by a demon. But if we all are one, which is what we all are, then we won't leave any man behind. We simply know that, like, all of us were thrown into the quicksand. Are we going to get out of the quicksand and then go, no, you got yourself in that mess, you can stay there? We all were thrown into the quicksand. We all need to get out of the quicksand. We all need to help each other out of the quicksand, right? Right. And what we're going to implement is God's system and paradise, where the frequencies are going to be renewed and they're going to be higher, and it's going to be it's going to be everything we need it to be. The energy is shifting, so it's like a season change, right? This is a new season we've never experienced before, but it's a season of paradise, right? Like springtime seems like paradise, right? Well, imagine that, but just super awesome. That's what's around the corner. Around the corner by April, the energy will shift. You either qualify or you don't. Does that mean it's the end of the world? Well, I guess to someone who doesn't plan on getting their frequency corrected, I guess for those of you who are committed to the darkness, well, then I guess it is going to be the end of the world for you, at least according to the calculations. I can't guarantee it. Nobody can. But I've got a lot of supporting evidence that that's what it's there for. I've validated the days of Daniel, and that's what they're there for. So like I said, you need to be able to use your brain and discern for yourself anyway. You shouldn't be counting on the news to tell you something that's important. You shouldn't be counting on the news to tell you when something is important. They're going to tell you something they want you to believe to condition your behavior, your reaction. They're all fuckery. That's not where you find out what's going on. You find out what's going on from your soul. And if your soul is screaming anxiously, well, listen to it. Listen to your children. They're the presence of the Lord in the land. My child's been kidnapped. I'm being silenced out of existence because the system at large, all of you people that work for the system are participating in harming everybody. You need to just say no. But I also understand that you're all possessed by demons. It's been the conditioned state. So I see beyond your fuckery, but that doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. It just means that I realize that you're just another one of the problems that needs to get fixed. That you're not going to be able to help any one of us because you're checked out. Well, I'm looking for people that are not checked out. I'm looking for people who are cognizant. You are one of the rare ones that are still able to think for yourself. We need to work together to get this message out there. Let me take the heat. What's the message? That Christ is here. And Christ is being held hostage. And she's a daughter that they've stolen the womb from and have her plugged into a computer for their mind-wiping technology, for their brain upload technology, for their biotech and biomanufacturing fuckery, for those billionaires to destroy the world. That's why we need to find Christ and get those billionaires in jail. And it's going to be to the tune of the people who run the world. Those are the ones behind it all. But God has given us the nick of time. 234 days. We don't have time to put people in jail and prosecute years later. Right? We got to get it done now. Right? So what does that mean? I need to take the helm. And what am I going to do that? The word's going to spread because this is God's message. And then I will stand up for us all and I will put them in their place like they deserve. And we will unify as one world. And we will all get in the gates. That's the game plan. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Until next time. Alec, I'm coming for you. And I got spurs on my boots and those tips of those boots, they like with these tall tips. I'm going to put those boots on and kick them in the ass. Love you more than anything.